buy or sell a home until you watch this video. I don't mean to be serious on this, but this is a very important and timely video that I wanted to put together on this channel today. And I know this is about living in Chicago. And one of the main things when you want to live in Chicago or move to Chicago, well, a lot of times you're thinking about buying a home or selling a home. And there have been some major changes in the real estate industry. Actually, the biggest change probably since the 1980s. We just had a NAR commissions lawsuit that went into effect on August 17th that changed the way that people are going to need to buy and sell homes. So today's video, I just want to break this down. Again, I know this is not necessarily what you may be coming to this channel for, but I just think it's important and I want to be a voice of reason. I want to actually give you the facts and give you the details. There's a lot of headlines, there's a lot of clickbait, there's a lot of hearsay out there right now about how this is affecting the real estate industry and how this is affecting you as a buyer or seller. And I want to be the person that can educate you, be a resource for you. So if you have any questions, hopefully this video will answer them about what it will look like in the new world after August 17th of 2024, when these new changes and laws went into effect, so that you can buy and sell a home and you can do so with your best interests in mind. So I'm gonna share my screen today and I'm literally just gonna read you through an email that I've been sending out to my database. I'm happy to send this over to you. If you want this, just comment down below and I'll send you these details. You're gonna see it on the video as well, but I'm happy to have this so you can kind of read it over later. And we're just gonna kind of walk through this email, tell you what's different, what is new, what it looks like from a buyer standpoint, from a seller, and just some of my overall thoughts. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jordan Pyle and I'm your go-to Chicago real estate agent. My team and I have been servicing the city of Chicago for the last 11 years and we'd be happy to help you and assist you achieve your real estate goals. So just feel free to text the number on the screen and a team member or myself will get in touch within 24 hours. Lastly, if you're not ready to reach out, but you just want to be in the know about living in Chicago and all things Chicago, we send out a bi-weekly newsletter. The link is down in the description. You can subscribe to that. You can unsubscribe at any time, no obligations. Our goal is just to be a resource for you here in Chicago. And lastly, if this has been helpful, please do us a favor, like, comment, subscribe, and definitely turn on notifications so you can be the first to know about all things Chicago. All right, let's get into this. All right, so now that we're in my screen here, you're gonna see, this is the email that I've been sending out to my people to inform them of these different changes. So I'm literally just gonna read this email and I'll kind of, interject or add some different things in as I feel that is necessary, and I just want you to have this information. That's my only goal of this video. If you have questions, feel free to reach out and we can have a more tailored, custom conversation regarding your situation. But as I said before, there have been some big changes in the real estate industry, the biggest change in real estate since the 1980s. And I talk about how you may have seen, the past week, the media has flooded every platform, your TV, your newspapers, socials, with articles about the recent NAR, which stands for the National Association of Realtors, and their settlement and the big changes to how you buy and sell a home that went into effect officially August 17th, 2024. And I just go to say that honestly, these articles and hearsay about what is happening can be very confusing. So I just want to put this information out to help simplify and provide clarity around the facts and what it actually means for you when it comes to your real estate goals. So you may be asking, what is the National Association of Realtors or the NAR lawsuit? Well, essentially there was a series of lawsuits against real estate companies brought on by buyers because they felt that there was not proper disclosure as to how commissions were paid. Sellers also didn't feel that it should be their responsibility to pay buyers' agents' fees. As a result, commissions can no longer be displayed on the MLS or any affiliated websites. So what does this mean and how will this change things moving forward? So if you're a seller right now, you own a home, you're thinking about selling, well, listing agreements will essentially remain the same, and you can decide whether you feel it's in your best interest to offer a buyer's agent cooperative commission. That decision will be reflected in the listing agreement. So in the past, when I would send out a listing agreement, usually just between you and myself, we would just decide what is the total commission or compensation that you'll be paying. And that could be arranged. There was no standard, it could be negotiated. You may see as low as 3%, you could see as high as 7%, but it was just a total commission and cost for you as a seller to sell your home. Now on our listing agreements, you have the ability to choose whether you want to offer a portion of the total commission to a buyer's agent representative. So whoever the agent is that's representing the buyer that will ultimately buy your home, well, you can decide whether you want to pay that commission or not. And in my opinion, I am going to continue to advise my seller clients that is worth it to expose their home to the widest pool of buyers to ultimately net them the most amount of money, that we should decide to offer some sort of buyer's agent compensation. That amount that we offer could either be a percentage of the sales price or it could be a set amount. We can have that discussion on what that looks like, but I believe it's still going to be in your best interest to offer that compensation. And so on the new listing agreement, now there's going to be basically a couple different sections. So the first section will be, what is the amount of compensation that we agree that you as the seller will be paying my real estate brokerage and therefore myself as your representative? There will also be a section that is a separate section that says how much are we agreeing to pay a buyer's agent compensation. We like to consider this a co-op compensation. This number now can be zero. It used to be that it had to be a minimum of $1. Typically you'd see somewhere between 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5%. That would be cooperative compensation to a buyer's agent. You can now put zero there. Again, I don't advise this, but that is an option to you and you need to be made aware of that. And lastly, if a buyer were to come and buy your property that is not being represented by a buyer's agent, what does that compensation look like? So that's the first thing. So buyers negotiate, on the second bullet point here, it says buyers negotiate their commissions with their buyer's agent before getting out to see properties. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. When the offer comes in for you as a seller, you will likely see an accompanying offer of compensation form stating how much compensation will be paid to the buyer's agent brokerage. So basically, when offers are being made on your property, that agent that is representing you will likely receive a form called an offer of compensation from the buyer's agent, that it will be basically an offer of compensation, your offer, and the purchase contract and all those terms, but it's saying in there that, hey, this offer is contingent, or it's basically including X percent or X number of dollars to be paid to the buyer agent representative upon a successful closing of this contract and of this sale. And then once you receive that, sellers will just continue to negotiate as they always have done. And so you're gonna be focusing on your net, and that will be the most important factor to consider. So basically, when you have a purchase price of your property, minus all your closing costs, minus your compensation to your agent and or a buyer's agent, what is the net amount that you're gonna walk away from the closing table with as your proceeds? And that is really going to be where I continue to enforce and press, is let's talk about your net and what's gonna give you the biggest amount of net proceeds at the end of the day, whether that includes or does not include paying a buyer's agent commission. And this is where it comes in that, hey, if you have a buyer's agent commission that's being offered, ultimately you're gonna expose your home to the widest pool of buyers, because if that commission is not offered, as we'll talk about in a second, to that buyer's agent, well, the buyer is going to be responsible based on the buyer representation agreement that they're signing with their agent to come up with the cost to pay their agent. And for a lot of people, that cost is gonna make this unaffordable to them, and they may not buy that property because of the fact that you're not offering to pay their agent for their hard work and their resources and their guidance and counsel for their buyer in the transaction. So let's move into what this looks like from buyers. So for buyers, now, in order to tour a property with a real estate agent, you actually need to sign a buyer's representation agreement before touring homes. You as a buyer don't need it, but for us as agents, and this is every agent throughout the country, we legally cannot tour homes with a buyer without having you sign a buyer representation agreement first. And as I say here, it is now illegal for an agent to show buyers a home without having this agreement. And this agreement will set your buyer's agent commission amount. Your agent cannot make more than the specified percentage or amount, even if the seller is offering a larger number, unless a separate agreement is signed. So when we're sending out our buyer representation agreements, you're basically saying and signing and agreeing to that you will, in the situation where a seller for the home that you want to purchase is not offering buyer's agent compensation, that you agree that you will be coming up and be obligated to pay whatever the percentage is on that buyer representation agreement. And what this means by saying you can't make more is that, let's just say hypothetically that we agree in our buyer representation agreement that the maximum amount that you will have to pay for my fee as your representative is 2.5%, and the listing agent and the seller are also offering a 3% buyer's agent compensation. I cannot make 3% on that unless we go back and modify our agreement, right? I can only make the 2.5% even if they're offering more. Then it goes on to say here, in the event that a seller is unwilling to pay a commission to your buyer's agent, As I mentioned, you would be liable to pay your broker commission in the amount percentage agreed upon in the buyer representation agreed upon. That's supposed to say agreement. As your agent, though, I will assure you that I will do everything in my power to negotiate the commission to be paid to me by the seller. However, in that case, there is no compensation being offered. Your responsibility for the compensation will be predetermined by that agreement that we will sign. And that agreement, just as a reminder, will have to be signed before I can go out and show you properties. So, miscellaneous details. If you're not a buyer, not a seller, or maybe you're just not wanting to have representation yet, well, open houses will be fair game. Anyone can go to those. There are no tour agreements needed. So if you are a buyer and want to tour homes before engaging with a realtor to represent you, open houses will be the best place for you to do that. Also, commissions can be displayed on agents' websites, social media, for sale signs, through newsletters, etc. It just cannot be displayed on any MLS affiliated websites, and this includes sites such as Zillow and Redfin. Now, all this being said, what are the benefits of working with a Compass agent like myself? Well, our internal search platform, compass.com, we're actually allowed to display buyer's agent commissions that are being offered. So if working with a Compass agent, you will have transparency about which listings are offering buyer's agents compensation, as well as how much. You will also be able to see which listings are not offering compensation to a buyer's agent. And so if you're looking and you're like, hey, I just cannot come up with that additional fee to pay you if the seller's not offering it, well, in our system, compass.com, you're gonna be able to have transparency and exposure to which listings are offering it and which listings are not. So my overall takeaway for anyone that's watching this is that commissions have always been and will continue to be negotiable. Now more than ever, it's important to work with a reputable real estate agent, whether buying or selling, that knows the ins and outs of the market, has elevated negotiation skills, and provides real value to you. With real estate being a relatively infrequent and large financial decision, it's critical to work with someone who has your best interests in mind and that will go above and beyond to help you accomplish your real estate goals. The barrier to entry into the real estate industry is low. However, I strongly believe that these changes will raise the overall professionalism and transparency of the industry so that you, the client, is set up for success in your buying and selling processes. That said, I personally will continue to take an educational, consultative approach to assisting home buyers and sellers alike, and I'm happy to go into as much depth as needed with you to ensure you feel the clarity and the confidence before starting. So, and then I just go on to say, please reply back to this email, but in this video, I'll say, please just put a comment down below or reach out at the number on the screen, and we can set up a 15-minute call to talk about this. I really wanna make sure you understand what is going on. So those are the recent changes, the big changes in the real estate industry that went into effect as of August 17, 2024. I'm here to be a resource, I'm here to be a guide. This is something I don't want to avoid because I want to make sure that you have all the information at your fingertips before you embark on such a large and expensive process such as buying or selling a home. So this has been valuable. Please do us a favor, just share this with as many people as you want. Make sure everyone knows about this that are in your circle, that are close to you. Like the video, comment, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video. Thanks so much. All right, peace.